What's going on, guys? I'm Jake the Lawn Kid. Welcome back to another weekend in the lawn. In today's video, we're going to be talking about a lost project from the 2018 lawn season. With all that being said, let's get into the video, bruh. Okay, now before I get into the story here, let me go ahead and bring you up to speed on what's going on over here at Lawn Kid headquarters. One thing that's for sure is I'm actually starting to take my height of cut down on my lawn to get ready for aeration and overseeding. You guys know I mow this lawn religiously during the summertime at 3.5 inches, and I do that twice a week. But because I want to get ready for aeration and overseeding, I'm slowly going to be taking this lawn down throughout the week to help improve seed to soil contact. If you guys would like to learn a little bit more about that process as well as how low I'm going to go, make sure that you subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for that video coming out later this week. Now, although I can't really tell you much about what I'm going to do here, I can show you the current state of the lawn. Now, keep in mind, as I mentioned earlier, I am mowing this a little lower than normal. This is about 3 inches right here. I mowed this yesterday, and you can see it's looking pretty good up here. But once we get to this area over here, you'll notice that it's looking a little ugly because we actually have a minor fungal invasion. That right there, my friends, that is our good old friend dollar spot. It's a fungus that manifests itself intermittently across the lawn, and it's an indication that the lawn doesn't have enough nitrogen. Now, to be honest with you guys, I'm not really worried about that personally, because as we get into next weekend where I'm going to be aerating and overseeding this lawn, I'm also going to be fertilizing this lawn with a little bit of nitrogen to help push the seed as well as the existing grass that's here, and assuredly push out this fungus. Now let's make our way over here because I want to talk to you guys about something real quick. So for those of you guys who've been watching the past couple of weeks, one thing you guys will remember that I've mentioned in every single video thus far is how much stress has been put upon my side yard here due to the hot and dry periods we've been having. But I am happy to say that with the temperature starting to come down and a little bit of rain coming into the forecast, it's starting to look a little better. I want you guys to remember one thing. If there's anything that's going to help your lawn besides good mowing, it's going to be a good rain. If your lawn hasn't had a good rain in a long time and it finally gets it, I'm telling you, give it 2 or 3 days, it's gonna be blowing up green like you see right here. By the way, for those of you guys who are wondering, that brown spot right there, that's not fungus, that's actually an area where I tried to kill clumping fescue, and if we get down and look, you can see it kind of worked, but not really. Just having a little fun there. And then lastly, let's go ahead and make our way over to the LCN Lawn Revival, which, by the way, not a whole lot going on here besides the fact that, number one, I have been irrigating this regularly, and number two, I am starting to mow this lawn lower as well because, as I mentioned in the past couple of weeks, I'm going to be overseeding this lawn in tandem with my lawn. Again, they're going to have their own regimen, so I'm going to be splitting the videos in two, but I just wanted to show you guys that progress is happening at both lawns. Okay, so let's get into the story here. So this story dates all the way back to late November of 2017. This is my uncle here, and he officially moved into this house here, or this lot, or this property, or whatever you want to call it, in this time frame. And around this time, the house was new construction. To be more specific with the lawn, the front was sodded and the back was seeded, and it really didn't have a whole lot of time to wake up and start growing as it was all done in the winter time. But once we got to spring, everything started to wake up really nicely. So fast forward all the way to April 2018, my uncle's been living in this house for 6 months, and this is when I paid my first ever visit to examine the lawn. And I gotta be honest, the lawn was actually looking pretty good for being installed in the winter. As I mentioned before, it was actually starting to look pretty good as we were progressing into the spring. You know, the lawn started growing, started dropping roots. It was looking really good. And I was talking with my uncle one day. I was saying, hey, you know what? Since you had your lawn installed in the winter and it's starting to wake up this spring, why don't you and I do a collaboration together where we show people how to properly upbring your lawn from new construction to the best of the best in just under a year. And he was on board with the idea. Which brings me to the first and only round of applications I've done to this lawn in such a long time. And that was number one, a crabgrass pre-emergent. And I did that using the Haltz product from Scott. I put that down at the recommended rate, and the benefits I got there was area to prevent the crabgrass, and I also got a good amount of nitrogen there to help stimulate a little bit of growth. The second application I did on that day was an application of the Green County Next soil activator pack, and that package consisted of 700 green effect, RGS, aerate, and dethat. The benefits I got from this application were improved color and a little bit of macro value in there, just a little bit of nitrogen, stimulated root growth, improved nutrient penetration, and digested thatch. And as you could see, within 4 weeks time of doing those applications, the lawn was looking pretty good. That right there, that is the start of what I thought was going to be a really successful project, showing you guys how to upbring a lawn from the worst of the worst and make it the envy of the neighborhood by the end of the year. And I would do that by going over there monthly, checking up on it, and if it showed any signs that it needed any fertilizer, I'd be there to do it. But this little thing called life got in the way, and then it all went downhill from there. So the footage you're seeing here, this is actually from a week and a half ago. We're in about early to mid-August at this point. And as you can see, as I mentioned earlier, the lawn has gone downhill in so many ways. But I gotta say, it has a really great stand of turf, so I know that there's still hope here. Let me go ahead and show you a little bit of what I'm talking about here. One thing you'll notice that here in the front yard is that there's a nice defined line of sod that differs from the rest, and it kind of makes an angle in the middle of the yard, and then it cuts at a 45 degree and goes back toward the house. At this point, my uncle's been living in the house now for a year, and what happened was the HOA confronted him as he was new construction and told him that it was required that he have a lamppost to light up his yard. And obviously it was new construction, didn't have a lamppost yet, and what they ended up doing was digging up all the existing grass to run wiring, and instead of reviving the old grass, they just smacked down new sod, and who knows whether or not it's gonna blend. Okay, so let's get into the actual bread and butter of this video, and that is going to be our applications. Now, real quick, I want you guys to keep in mind that everything I'm going to be doing today for purposes of this video is only going to be to the front lawn. This property here is about 9,000 square feet, and we're only going to be doing the front and side, which happens to be about a third of that, so 3,000 square feet is what we're going to be treating today, front and sides. Our first application today is going to be a full rate app of Milorganite at 12 pounds per 1,000 square feet. For those of you guys who are smart, that's going to provide us about 3/4 pound of nitrogen. My thinking behind that is I want to take advantage of the climatic change that's happening right now. You guys know it's been very hot and dry here in Northwest Indiana for quite some time, but fortunately we are being blessed with cooler temperatures and a little bit of rain, which cool season grass just loves, and because of that, this is a great time to start taking advantage of that and slowly start pushing the lawn, which is what this application will do. It'll help slowly push the lawn as it's coming out of its dormant period. Okay, now the second task of the day is going to be to spray some liquids. Now, what I've decided just by looking at the lawn and really wanting to have a little fun, to be honest with you guys, I'm going to go ahead and spray my all-time favorite cocktail from the next line, and that is going to be the Double Dark, which is going to be 6 ounces of 700 green effect and 9 ounces of the 002 microgreen. The benefits I'm going to get from here are, number one, an abundance of iron, which is going to help increase chlorophyll production in the plant, which will allow it to better absorb sunlight, and really, for lack of a better word, just make the lawn darker, hence the name Double Dark. And the second benefit we're going to get from it is an abundance of micronutrients. This is going to come from the microgreen product, as it has an abundance of the micros in there. And the reason that's important is because when you give the lawn a dose of the micros, you're helping better improve the performance of the macronutrients that you are applying. Micros help the macros, so make sure that you're giving the lawn a dose of the micros too.